today we've got an extremely special guest on the show. It's none other than Ghostbusters' very own Walter Peck.
Hi, John.
Bulb Tech Group.
We provide telephony services to businesses across the UK and indeed globally. And then I worked around the country up to the point I got held at gunpoint, actually hospitalised as a result.
This is John.
And this is Nick.
And this is How It Is.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of How It Is with me, John.
And me, Nick.
And today we've got a great guest, somebody I've known for a long time. Slightly different, because we're normally in the motor trade, but somebody who actually deals with the motor trade quite a bit. And his name is Garath Williams. And for Bulb Tech Group, I think your company's called. Yeah.
That's right, John. Nice to meet you.
Nice.
What the
Nice to
hell
have you.
did Bulb Tech Group do?
So we are a boutique voice services provider. We provide telephony services to businesses across the UK and indeed globally at the moment.
What does that really mean, Gary?
What does that really mean? So we can take your phone number or a phone number from a traditional phone line. We can pop it on an app so you can take your phone number with you wherever you go, subject to you having data and Wi-Fi connectivity. We can add other services to that phone number, such as call queuing, call recording. We can add more than one line to that phone number. We can route that phone number to different places and different people, different departments, depending on time of day of week of the month of the year, whatever. But we can also prompt decision-making process. So you can have a little message that says, "Thanks for calling the compliance guys. Please tell us in a few short words why you're calling today."
That's very good there. Very tenuous, because that's what we are doing with you as well.
Yeah.
So thank you.
So it's interesting. So, I think phone calls into small businesses has always been a landline, looks professional, might not be handled that well. People are now, more fractious in their work. Or the dreaded mobile phone number on a website, which doesn't look professional. So is it fair to say that what you're doing is now bringing what was available in big business to smaller businesses? And if so, what impact do you find that have on small businesses?
Yeah, I think most consumers' mentality is, I need a phone, right? I'm set up in business. I need to speak to Vodafone to get my mobile phone number upgraded or sorted out. I need more minutes. Or I need to speak to BT to get a special phone number ending in 111 or whatever it might be. And that would be the norm, shall we say. Where we all like to feel important, right? So when we go to a restaurant or a shop, garage, whatever, we want to be made to feel important. The customer's important. Many new start businesses, many small, medium style businesses are large employers or important parts of their local community, and they get forgotten about by some of these big companies. You'll be stuck in a queue routing you to a call center the other end of the world for you to report line fault or the fact that you want to order another line, and it might take several days, several weeks in some instances to get that. For us, we have that small business mentality. The customer comes first, and although we've got some response times so that we're industry-based service level agreements, it says up to 4 hours for this, up to 6 hours for that. If you call us or email us, we'll usually respond straight away, and whatever it is that you're looking for, we'll try and get delivered there and then if we can.
So pretty much like the motor trade. Nobody's in school, and the teacher says, "All right, Gareth, what do you want to be when I grow up?" "I want to be into phones and voice communications and stuff like that." Why did you get into it?
Oh,
I know the story.
so if I can go back a really long way, right? And this is,
well, you've just turned 50, so it is a lot.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Happy
This
birthday.
is more of a mindset than anything. So that question did come up in a business studies course, right? When I was in school, and Mr. Lewis was our business studies teacher, and he asked a group of us in the class to have a 5-year plan. And what are you going to be doing in 5 years' time? And at the time, I wanted to be a stockbroker. I'd just done work experience at a stockbrokers in the middle of Swansea. called NIG Liddon and Co. They're not there anymore, right? They used to be on there.
Stockbrokers and Swansea.
They used to be on Manson Street. Yeah, they used to be on Manson Street. So I've just done like a work experience there when get your fortnight yearly. I don't know if they do it these days. And I had this idea, that's what I wanted to do. And the little sheet came round and somebody said, I'm going to be university. Someone else said, I'll probably be in jail. And I put down, I want to be in London earning 20 grand. And at that time, a long time ago, that was a lot of money. 5 years later, I was in London. I was living in London and working in London, earning considerably more, but as a supermarket manager. And I'd worked in
Every little helps.
Yeah, not those, but someone very similar. I became the youngest store manager in the country for a chain at 18 years and 4 months, taking over a little branch in Cirencester, and then I worked around the country up to the point I got held up at gunpoint on the outskirts of West London and was eventually hospitalised as a result. And when it boils down to it, I fell into phones. I needed a job, and I was at a bar, the Old Inn, with a friend of mine, Paul, and we were talking about, what am I going to do? Am I going to ever work in a shop again? Because that's what I was.
Telegraph.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. And what was next step? And this guy overheard and sort of said, look, you can talk. So if you can talk, you can be taught to sell. And if you can communicate well, you can be taught to sell. And if you can do it and communicate in the right way, you can learn eventually not to sell, get people to buy. And that's a big difference. And I started selling mobile phones for a service provider. And at various different points over the last 25 years or 24 years, I thought I could do that. And that's what ended up leading me here.
It's funny, isn't it? Like we always say that like the basis of a business is often just that starting out from doing the job really well, and it's where your ambition takes you after that, isn't it? Yeah. So like what is the difference for you between someone like yourself who did that and went, I'm going to go to that next level and I can do this myself, compared to someone who probably is on a very comfortable wage, I'm sure you were at the time, and doesn't take that risk?
Well, you guys will know this, right? Because you've been in a similar situation, right? Where you've worked for somebody doing the job. And a little light bulb comes on. You think, oh, I could do it better than this. For me, one of the precursors wasn't really about, I want to earn a gazillion pounds and be the richest, most successful man in my industry. Because I'm far from that. I care. And one particular time, the company I was working for had sold some services to a haulage firm, and I bumped into their IT guy in a supermarket. Hiya, I said, how you doing? You okay? Don't hire me, sir. After what your lot have done. Your lot have done this, your lot have done that, blah, blah, blah. You'll be lucky if our boss ever even shakes your hand and looks at you again. Because we feel that we've been done over. So I went into the office and sort of said to this large service provider, look, what's going on here? It's nothing to do with you. Yeah, it has. Because these are people I've met, developed relationships with. And it's the relationship bit.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put that right. And the only way I could put that right was by stepping outside of that service provider. And this is, early 2000s. I've been self-employed a couple of times. Sometimes it's been reasonably successful. Sometimes it's not, But I have this burning idea and ambition to do the right thing for the customer.
Yeah, and it's a leap of faith as well when you go into business by yourself. When you see all these kind of self-motivation and self-development books and stuff like that, and they go, you can go out there and you don't have to earn I didn't pay myself for 6 years and all these. But at the end of the day, I got a wife, a family, a mortgage, all these things. I had to have money coming in.
Yeah.
And again, as you know, when we started up the compliance guys, I went back into selling cars at the same time and stuff because I had to have a wage.
Yeah.
But I never really wanted to be a business owner. Never really wanted to do it. And he was telling me, we got to do it. We got to work together.
I remember one of the phone calls on your sofa.
Yeah, exactly. And you came over, you had a cup of coffee, and I said, we're going to start this thing.
I think we all live for the jeopardy of being business sometimes. Like I remember when I was at first response, and I went to another role, but it was kind of, I don't know, it was commission only or self-employed, however everyone to look at it. And I literally took a like probably 50% pay cut because I thought at some point in the future I could do better. But I think you get too comfortable sometimes, and as a business, you do like that jeopardy of I may have nothing or I may have something, and as stressful as it can be, living on the edge is sometimes the bit that you want. It's not the money, it's not the recognition. It is just that feeling alive, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point actually. The living on the edge, but lots of people going about their daily jobs, clocking in, clocking out, collecting their salary then every month, don't really realise what the guys at the other end of their bosses, their employers, are putting themselves through. You've got to make payroll before you pay yourself.
Certainly Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer.
Well, you may say that. I think that's pretty but there's a case in point, right? Some of these people who are making decisions on our behalf,
They don't have that jeopardy.
they don't have that level of experience.
Absolutely.
I've worked commission only. Right now, I'm pretty much working commission only.
We all are, really.
Right?
I guess once you're in business.
So and I think that from a salesperson's perspective, if someone's going to come and work with me and our business going forward as we grow, yes, we want talent. Yes, we want people who've got great set of skills. Maybe the Liam Neeson kind of thing, where they've got a set of skills that we don't really understand, but we're going to get it controlled somehow, and we're going to find customers and whatnot. But it's that that self-belief. I'm going to go out today, and I'm going to put meat on the table on Sunday. And when you do that once, you learn the process to do it twice, 3 times, 4 times. Now, when I first ever went and became self-employed without the backup of a small company or a big company or whatever, that guaranteed salary is not coming in. My first goal was to feed family and pay the mortgage. And rightly or wrongly, I still to this day have that mentality. And over the years, I've earned lots of money and I've lost lots of money, but it's that ability.
Somebody always said to me, making money is quite easy. It's keeping it is
hard. Yeah.
So, like, it's interesting you say there about with sales staff and stuff. Like, how did you then go from this time around at least being a small business operator to then taking on your first staff? And
I think that very early on I did that. Bulb started off in 2020. I joined fully in 2023. I've known Dom and Shaz, the original founders, for some time. And although I did sort of give some advice and guidance, should we say, as a side hustle for a time, right? My plan always was to get fully involved. But also, as John points out, at 50, I've learned what my skills are, what my inabilities are, and the ability to manage and delegate certain roles and responsibilities out is far, far more successful, and you reap far more reward by acknowledging that. Going out, making phone calls and knocking on doors and trying to generate leads has never been my forte. But speaking to the person, trying to understand what their problems are, what their future looks like, what the outcome is, and starting and going backwards. Years gone by, I was told, go and sell this phone. Go and sell this box.
It's the features, the benefits, and all that.
And that didn't really come into it. It was a case of you've got to sell 50 boxes in order to earn your commission. So it didn't really matter the features and benefits or what problem you were solving. You had to sell 50. And for me, rightly or wrongly, I've got this mentality that when I meet a potential customer, however large or small, and as a business, we've got customers with sites in the US, Hong Kong, Australia, Poland, Hungary, Glasgow, some really odd places, but like when we meet these people, it's that how can we help first and foremost? But like I've got this idea when I was supermarket back then, I'd meet my regional director at the front door, and we do a store walk, and you'd imagine what the customer's looking for, what's available. They've come in to buy their evening meal, the ingredients to do that? How are we going to help them create that menu for themselves and their family? And at the end of it, if there's enough money left over, we'll go and show them the specials aisle, get them to spend that last 5 or 6 quid with us. When I meet a potential customer these days, I want to understand what their menu is, what it is that their outcome, what meal are they planning on tonight, or what product, what technology are they looking for, what's the outcome, better customer service, better user experience, better agent experience, ease of access, 24-hour ability to do something, because we're a 24/7, 365 consumption-based economy these days. How can you do that when you're a one-man band?
Yeah.
You use technology. So right, that's your meal, and then we have a little walk around the shop, putting the ingredients together. And if they've got any money left, we take another specials eye.
I love that. That's absolutely
really
brilliant. Yeah. So you've talked about you work in different markets and stuff. How do buyers, let's say the people you sell into, but also the customers, if they are your customers, how does that vary around the world compared to here in the UK?
Oh, I think it's what's the word I'm looking for? A mindset and a value proposition, right? The UK market is quite saturated with telecoms companies, guys like me trying to sell you a phone or trying to sell you a number or whatever, right? And we're one of the most competitive industries and markets globally. And there's no real value seen, because we give these away for free, but it's a £70 tariff. It's not really free, right? And other devices like that. Whereas other markets, the US, for example, some parts of Eastern Europe and APAC, will see the value that you're providing. They've got a problem. They need a solution to it. How can they help overcome that? They're not just going to buy on price. They're going to buy on capability, reliability, the advice and guidance you give. We carried out a project in summer 2023 for a US-based manufacturer, and they had an issue they wanted to overcome with their Indian plants, manufacturing plants, not plants. Sorry, that's a damn joke. And they came to us and sort of said, "Look, this is our issue. What would you do?" So we went away, put a proposal together around in-country numbering, in-country support, in-country technology, to ensure that they were within the regulatory compliance of each individual state, let alone the country. At the end of it, they turned around and said, of all of the providers, large and small, you're the only one that came back with this kind of information. We've already carried out this as a testing project. The company we were with caused us a problem, so we had to learn how to overcome that problem. And the advice and guidance you've given puts you head and shoulders above everybody else. And we were competing against some very, very large organisations.
So are you saying in the UK that would have been much more down to price, and then that expectation's still there, despite the price?
Yeah, and in many ways, it's kind of to be expected. But many people that I found who were making those purchase decisions, large and small, they'll have a budget in mind. They'll have a technology in mind. Two won't always necessarily marry up with the expectation and or indeed the requirement. But over here, people are far more price orientated than they are elsewhere. Elsewhere, the Americans in particular are prepared to pay for value and advice, guidance. You're going to draw up an architectural design as to how their telephone network's going to look. They're happy to pay towards that. In the UK, no. And again, many values are not seen within that, but it's a huge amount of value to be extracted from it. How do you get product A speaking to your CRM? How to get your CRM speaking to your finance system? There's 3 different products there that they're expecting the telco guy to understand. Well, how's he going to understand that?
The customers that we deal with, I always say that they want 3 things. They just want to know 3 things. How much input do they have on the whole situation? How long is it going to take? And how much is it going to cost? Everything else is just white noise.
Yeah,
they just do not care.
Pretty much, I guess that boils down to us too in that sense. Large and small. How quick is it going to be? How cheap are you? What do I really need to do? Because by nature, most of us are relatively lazy anyway. Do you know
To
what I
be
mean?
fair, and that's why I like dealing with you, because I'll just ring up and go, this is what I've got in mind. Can you do it? You go, yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's yes. I'll go, what do you have to do? You don't have to do much. Leave it to me. I'll get in contact with your IT services and all that, and I just leave you get on with it. And then you ring up and go, test it out. I go, okay, great, lovely. Just what I want.
Well,
And
again,
then you scare me with how much it's going to cost.
yeah.
No, it's not.
But this is where it comes down to, right? And this is one of the things that the direction I'm trying to push Bulb to be different in is that rather than just selling people a phone or an app or whatever device you want to call it, it's the relationship element.
Mm.
You know, aside from the fact we've known each other for a while, it's understanding your business and what the outcome is. You know, I've got to know Nick better.
Yeah.
You know, and understanding what he wants, understand what you want, understand what your users want, and then piecing together the technology around that to make it easier for your customers to communicate, let alone you communicate with them.
I think Telecoms has had a really bad name as well. Like we always say, the motor trade house. Like, God knows why we didn't end up with Garath to start with, but
We
like,
did.
Did we?
We did. We started
The
out,
service
but
provider
he was
I work
working
for.
out. He was working with another company.
That's right. So you
And
didn't have your
and it
business.
failed, yeah.
Because we signed up to a 3-year contract when I said, look, we don't do more than 12-month contracts. I don't believe in them. But we ended up having to sign a 3-year contract we've literally just got out of, which we didn't use because it was absolutely terrible. And it was the usual, you know, sold a dream up front, then can never get hold of anyone. Nothing works as it's supposed to. And I remember speaking to you for the first time when we decided to move over. And you're like, oh no, it's a monthly rolling contract. And I was like, why? And you're like, well, because if you're not happy, I'm not happy. And I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
How do we not know this exists? And I think it must be quite difficult when people are buying on price. But that for me was a massive driver.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, you know, we'll do a longer term contract and provide some level of discounts occasionally. But the reality is this, right? Anything can be put into a contract, right? The moment someone's got to go and pull that piece of paper up, your relationship is screwed, right? So the ability to pick up that phone and communicate good and bad in both directions has to be done, right? You know, we've chatted. You know, you said just now, I've got this idea. No, listen, that's not going to work, and this is why it's not going to work. It's better to give that advice,
Yeah.
and know that you've done right for the customer rather than not. You know,
Oh, we turned down business all the time.
you know,
All the time we turned down business.
Which is difficult to do early on. Did you find that it's very tempting to start with to say yes to everyone?
yeah, and in years gone by, in a previous business venture, I literally said yes to everybody. You know, and that ended up costing me my business and almost my home. You know, having then gone back into the corporate world and learned a little bit more around service provision, customer management, a little bit more around operating a business rather than just thinking you're a good salesman. Because there's a big difference, right? You know, I've met some really amazing business people, but they're not very good at sales. They're not very good at marketing. They're not very good at finance. But what they are good at is getting the right people in, and they've seen a gap. And then I've met others then who are amazing salespeople who step out thinking they're going to run a business and lose money hand over fist every time they do because they have no managerial skills. You know, I think with Bulb, we have said no to some customers, and we have said no very early on, both direct and some partnership elements. And there's some suppliers that we said we don't want to work with because after 20 odd years in the game, myself and Shaz and Dom, between us, we know who we want to deal with. We know the kind of customer we want. And, you know, we like to have fun with profit. We like to be relaxed. You know, I've been on meetings and been to physical meetings in the past, you know, you dolled up with your suit, your shirt, your tie, and, you know, you're feeling like a spare part at a wedding. Did say part then. And customer has certain expectations, and the onus is on you to say yes. You know, I was at a presentation a couple of years back, and the customer was wanting X, and the salesperson who I was asked to go in and basically help manage the situation was trying to sell Y. And I stopped the presentation within about 15 minutes. I said, this isn't working. It's not what you're looking for, and it's not, you're trying to sell them something completely different. Let's come back in a week with a solution. And let's not waste any more time. Because if we
Something
can't
that
do
I
it,
tell our sales guys that it was an old mentor, an old manager of mine, a guy called Andy Meehan, who's no longer with us now. Learned so much from him. He dragged all the business development managers up to Swindon, and we were in this lovely posh golf club. And he said, right, he said, I'm here with as assistant manager there, and you've got to sell us this for a wedding tonight. So we all went away for half an hour, wrote down. Every one of us went up individually with this huge sales pitch. At the end of it, he went, right, you were all absolute shit, right? And we're going, oh, right, why? He said, not one of you just said, so what are you after? What do you want? Not one of us.
Mm.
And that's what, you know, I say to those guys now, just ask them what they want.
Yeah.
It's all you want.
We work with some great partners from a vendor perspective within Bulb. We've got Fortune Codes, we've got Boom, we've got Anywhere, we've got Five, we've got Bandwidth, Vodafone. You know, there's some big ass names that we're working with, right? Every single potential customer we meet, we want to know what they're looking for. What do you want to do? Because it's pointless us trying to sell them a box if what they actually need is a bag.
Yeah.
You know, it's pointless us trying to sell them a phone number if what they actually need is a phone. You know, so you get your foot in the door, for want of a better phrase, by listening to what the customers, you know, sell what people want to buy, you know, and it's a no-brainer.